Andor Season 2 is back with the next 3-episode release, and we are seeing everything be built up even more to the grand ending that we are getting in the next 2 weeks. We will dive into these new episodes and analyze them. A gripping turn in the story that not only takes the series in much darker territory, but it also elevates its storytelling, characters, and cinematic quality to a whole new level. To everyone watching, what was your favorite moment of this second 3-episode arc, and which episode was your favorite? Let me know in the comments as we run through this video. We should start off by talking about the best thing these new episodes brought us, which of course is its writing, and these 3 were written by Beau Willimon, who was the previous writer for the prison arc in Season 1, an arc that some say is the best one in Season 1, and I tend to agree with that. He's back again to write this new one, and if I may make a point to that, it is quite fitting that he is the writer for these new episodes. Almost all of our characters in these episodes feel like they are within their own prison, even if not literally, trying to claw out and escape, but yet still have to do the deed of being inside their prison, which is the rebellion, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's Luthen holding some of them down, the Empire with the Ghormans, or in the case of a character like Bix, her own PTSD of the traumatic experiences that she has had being tortured by the Empire in Season 1 that continue to haunt her. This is just S-tier level writing, and it should be recognized. Characters are starting to slip and want to be released from all of it, and I have a feeling it may lay the groundwork for some of these characters to find a heartbreaking fate. In time, that's just how some of these stories end up going, especially within the spy genre. Eventually, people will find a way to slip up and mess up their perfect game of hiding who they truly are, and I think that is going to be evident within how desperate they might get, especially when we know that they will find out about the Death Star project very soon leading into Rogue One. As a side note, regarding Beau as the writer, he is also slated to be writing for James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie following the story of the First Jedi. If there is one thing I am praying every day that it stays intact, it is that he remains on that project, because he is a really talented writer working with one of the best working directors today on a story that I think a lot of Star Wars fans would want to see, especially in theaters. Make it a priority, Lucasfilm. Don't let that one slip away. The story that intrigues me the most, thanks to Beau and his incredible writing, is now the Ghorman storyline, a storyline that's very emblematic of a certain time in history when you really dig deep into it. Tony Gilroy and the creatives behind the show have talked about this, and a good way to look at this storyline is that it represents when the French fought the Germans during World War II while having France be taking over at the time. The stories of what the French did during that war in order to create their own resistance movement as they waited for the Allies to make their way into France is very emblematic of what we are seeing here in Andor. Just the way that this particular rebel group is organizing themselves, but also just within the language that they speak, you can clearly see where the representation lies. Their language sounds like a mix of French and German, and Tony Gilroy himself even said as much, that is why he casted mainly French actors to play a lot of these people in the Ghorman race. Again, I love that this storyline is very representative of World War II from that point of view, where we are seeing a very naive and early stage rebellion group try and fight their way into pushing the Empire out as much as possible, but need the help of real professionals to get their way in, which is where we see Cassian, Vel, Cinta, and then even Cyril try and help, even if he is not doing it for the right reasons, but only to help the Empire learn more about this group. With these 3 episodes building up this storyline, I think it's becoming quite clear that this is the one that is going to leave the most chaos. It is essentially this season's version of the Ferrix storyline from Season 1, where this planet full of people get pushed around by the Empire as they come in after a dispute was created. As the trailers have shown us, we are also expecting to see another version of a Ghorman massacre occur. My best guess is that it will happen in the final 3 episodes, but next week is certainly going to give us another look on where it goes. I just find that it is so fascinating to watch someone like Cassian and Cyril be working for this rebel group, and at any moment they could both meet in the flesh, and Cyril most definitely will bite the bullet after that, but who knows, maybe they both get lucky and never meet. Cinta sadly was this week's casualty, like how Brasso was last week, a death that was forced upon us, the audience, due to a stupid and unnecessary mistake by one of the people in the Ghorman front. I was really caught off guard by that death, and it is one one that honestly is based off a character that you don't want to lose, because she is one of the people who has the most determination to really make sure the Empire pays and suffers for what they are doing. It's just another way to show that anything can happen in the circumstances when you are trying to showcase what a real rebellion looks like. Quite frankly, if I was Vel, instead of verbally smearing that guy for what he did, I would just straight up beat the shit out of him. He deserves that as much, and I would not continue to include him in the rebellion. It was good to see this actor again in something. Richard Samel is someone I haven't seen in anything since he was the German who got his face beaten in by the Jew Bear in Inglourious Basterds, but then he was also in a cable television show called The Strain, and that is a product of a time when I was a teenager and I was still watching cable television, so I think he fits well for being the leader of this rebel group. Speaking of what it means to feel good seeing someone again, let's talk about our boy Saw Gerrera. He has returned, and his first appearance here is not as big and finds itself stuck within one location, mainly for the whole 3 episodes, but the most important thing we get out of it is that it is another character we are starting to see lose himself even more as he grows older and the rebellion grows bigger. He's now brought Wilman on his crew, and in order to help with a specific mission of stealing Rhydonium from the Empire. In the process of Wilman training another guy in order to do that, Saw becomes curious of this guy, thinking he's probably a rat, and we see as much as they are ready to go off on the mission that he puts both of them in a corner as far as figuring out if either of them are ready for the mission. And without hesitation, he just puts one right in the dude's head and reveals he is a spy from the Empire. I admit, I was shocked that they showed that actually happened. Normally, when someone gets shot in the head in this franchise, they are either wearing a helmet or some face covering. Tony Gilroy said, "Nah, I'm just going to show you it full on without any care in the world. It's just another reason to show how mature the show actually is, and that it isn't even the end of it." When they get to the fuel station to steal the gas, Saw tells Wilman a time when he succumbed to breathing in the stuff and how it really damaged his body. When Wilman finishes his process, Saw just walks over and takes a big whiff of that gas. I love how 2 of the most relatable things we've seen in Star Wars media have happened within the span of 2 weeks. The moment when Cyril was laying on his bed after being embarrassed by his mom, and now with Saw smelling up that Rhydonium. Saw is absolutely insane, but let's not act like we aren't like him in this moment when we go to the gas station to fill up our tanks and we catch that whiff of the gas around us. In fairness, most people would normally not take the nozzle and put it up to their face and sniff it in. We just let it happen naturally. I guess we all have some of Saw in us when it comes to this kind of thing, but I digress. Mon Mothma's story is the one within this new batch of episodes that actually takes the back seat this time around. We don't get much from her here in the 3 episodes, but only just another taste of the world of her politics and how she is really trying to get senators on board with opposing something that's going on with Ghorman. Obviously, now that the Empire has a presence on Ghorman, that is basically hurting how the senators align with her because they don't want to go against Palpatine. They clearly know how much power he is actually wielding, and Mon is noticing it more and more, no matter if it's senators not backing her on legislation, or if it's the other senators just straight up coming out in the middle of the Senate floor and showing their love for the Empire. She is seeing every crack within the system, and in the next 2 weeks, we are going to see her give that speech denouncing the system and the Empire controlling it, and as we will also see, they will come after her for that. As usual, I think it needs to be said, but Genevieve O'Reilly is killing her performance in what could be one of the last times we ever see this character on screen. I assume that she will be back for Ahsoka Season 2, but let's just take in what she's doing here now while we can with Andor. Finally, we have to talk about Luthen. I think possibly the second thing most people will gravitate towards in these new episodes is how much this character is influencing so many different things going on. All this man is trying to do is start the rebellion fully to where we eventually see it in the original trilogy, and where he finds himself in a pickle now is that he is also starting to lose a lot of the control that he has of the people around him. It makes you feel like just all he does is have his hand in them like they are puppets. What he says goes, and nothing more can be done. It's why they made a point in these 3 episodes to display Cinta and Vel's relationship as much as possible, but also Cassian and Bix's as well. well. Both fall victim to an aspect of separation that is quickly building upon what could be Luthen's greatest strength and his greatest aspect of being a really bad person. The man will literally do whatever it takes to make sure that things are going well in the right places, and he doesn't care if it ruins these people, the relationships they have, but also the mental capacity they have to want to keep going. That's why I say as much at the beginning of the video that these characters are starting to slip, and I think that could also potentially be the downfall of Luthen himself. It's why I'm really curious to know what his fate is going to be, because we know he's not around during the original trilogy, and again, I think the groundwork is being laid to where he is going to find himself doing something that maybe is not all what he's always tried to relay to the people around him. Luthen's warnings of oppression and blind obedience is what will cause these relationships to meet an end. By controlling these people as much as possible, they may rebel against him at some point. Even for a character like Bix, it seems simple enough that you can tell she still likes what he offers to her, especially when we see that she is able to get her revenge on Dr. Gorst at the very end of episode 3. Luthen, I believe, was clearly involved in helping her get to that point, but at a cost where it maybe becomes a strain on the relationship that Cassian has with her and him. He still clearly doesn't trust Luthen as much, and I wonder if this is maybe how they end their relationship. Cassian might be the one who ends Luthen, depending on the circumstance that leads to that situation. This kind of narrative reinforces the message that unchecked power, even with good intentions, can lead to outcomes that negate the original ideals. I just love how Tony Gilroy and the creative team behind the show are really communicating these dark themes through that character so well, and of course, all the credit in the world should go to Stellan Skarsgård, who is acting his ass off. By far, one of the best characters in Star Wars today, and it's not even close. Also, underrated stuff from Clea and Krennic in the final episode. Both are doing great, and a great level of side activity for our main characters to latch onto and give us some more entertaining dialogue exchanges. The dialogue in this show is so good, and those two add so much to that. And there you have it. That's my commentary and analysis of Week 2 of Andor Season 2. What do you all think of my analysis of it? Leave your comments down below, and please be respectful if you disagree with anything I said in my analysis. Thank you all for stopping by my channel. If you want to see more moving forward from me with regards to film and television, and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you are new here, and turn on that notification bell. I'm trying to build a community on here, and your support would be appreciated. That's a wrap, folks. I hope everyone here has a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all soon for the next video.